Oh, the weather outside is hot. What? It's so hot in Los Angeles. Hello, good people. Is this too much? Happy holiday. Just kidding. I'm not going to wear this. Happy holidays. It's Kristin Juel welcoming you back to Uncut Juels. We're so happy you're here yet again on another Tuesday night. Hopefully, if you're listening to this later, whatever day it is, it's a good day for you. Today was a very interesting day. We're happy. It's good. It's Tuesday. It's short few weeks till the holiday. So far, December's going okay. So I'm happy about that. I'm excited about having our guest on the show tonight. If you can't tell, I'm a big fan. And just in general, I'm excited to have this talk. But before we bring him on, I wanted to just remind you guys a couple things. We obviously released some music recently, so please check our site and check our artist site out for some of those songs. We just released Deck the Halls for Jessica Childress. We have Today from CJ Ray and Deck the Halls from Jessica Childress. And thank you to everyone who's added the songs to their playlists. We really appreciate it, especially now that it's the holidays. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Jessica's song is in, many of her songs are in Hallmark movies, and a couple of them are in Hallmark Christmas movies. So if you happen to be watching Hallmark Christmas movies this year or the rest of the season, please Shazam if you hear her songs. We'd love to see those Shazams come in. They're so much fun. Deck the Halls, add it to your playlist. If you hear it on the Hallmark Christmas movies, called Our Christmas Love Song on Hallmark this season. And I think it probably will run until 2020 is over, most likely. So there you go. And then just as a reminder, I know I mentioned this last week, but we're really excited. We're going to be taking some time off between now and the 19th. So we won't be doing these shows again, most likely till the end of the year, probably start them up again in the new year. But in the meantime, we are going to do a live show on December 19th, and we're going to have Ruby Bell and the Sulphonics in a quartet configuration, or perhaps a duo. We're trying to figure that out. They're going to be doing some soul songs for us for the holidays, and we're going to have Jessica Childress. She's going to be doing some soul songs for us for the holidays, and Hamish Anderson, who's working through some beautiful guitar parts for us to have some soul songs for the holidays too. That's going to all happen on 12/19. It's going to be a ticketed live show, and we're going to be producing it ourselves. It's been a very interesting journey this year with all of these things, but we really hope you guys could show up and bring a friend, and let's, stay in, stay safe, and stay soulful. That's the whole point to this right now. I think it's more than ever super, super important for us to just, be ourselves, be with ourselves, learn how to be introspective, turn the mirror on ourselves, and then come together in the community of the digital world that we're in, which, I don't think I've ever been more grateful for technology and social advances in technology than I was this year in 2020. So with that said, please mark your calendars, 12/19, December 19th. It looks like it's probably going to be 6 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. So, and we might up that a little bit, but we'll see. But stay tuned. We're going to be announcing that very soon in the next coming days. Soulful season with the Uncut Juels team and our Juel Concepts holiday family. So, and with that, I'd love to say, okay, so our guest tonight, final guest for the year is Binky Griptite, and I'm going to ask him to join us. He is one of the most amazing guitarists. Come on, Binky Griptite, let's have a conversation. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Thank you for asking. I'm cheerful. I feel cheerful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I'm so grateful that you. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said you're radiating cheer and West Coast heat.
Oh, yeah. 79 degrees today. What is happening?
That's how it should be. That's how it's supposed to be. I mean, yeah. And I grew up in Wisconsin, and I'm completely over winter.
Oh, yeah. Well, I grew up in Pennsylvania, and if I never have to shovel snow again, I would be very happy.
Yeah, very.
I'm not a fan, but I did escape, and I did the New York thing. So I feel like I did it twice. I feel like I put my time in. Now I get to relax.
Okay.
Have you been to California?
What's that?
I was going to say, have you been to California? Because I was like, well, you should come out here.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like I've unfortunately only just come out there for business, so it's always
Mm,
too short. I've only had like very limited like sort of recreational experiences in
mm.
LA. But I did get to see a little bit of residential LA the last time I was there with a friend, and yeah, I could see it's got a thing. It's definitely got a thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's a thing. It is a little disconcerting though when it's, you just know the weather's, it's a little confusing now. So, but it's not Florida confusing. That's at least there's
Yeah,
that. So
yeah, exactly,
yeah. Okay.
exactly.
So you said so you're in New York now? Is that where you're at?
Yeah, I've been in New York now. I mean, it's been my home now for a little more than 20 years.
Mm.
Actually, I have to do the math every time, and I feel like I get it wrong every time. But probably like maybe 24 years or so. I feel like I moved here in '96.
Okay. Oh, that's a good year. That was a good year. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
Darn.
it
Gets
was
harder and
still
harder to look
New
back.
York. Yeah. I don't know. Was that like the Giuliani years? I don't think I caught any of the Dinkins years.
Oh, I was there for the Dinkins years. Oof. I was there for all of that. The Tompkins Square riots.
Oof, yeah.
That was insane. Yeah, that was like the late '80s, early '90s, late '80s.
All right.
Yeah, I think it was the Giuliani years. Yeah,
Yeah,
good
and
times.
yeah, and like when I got here, it's like it was like the I saw the whole Times Square transformation.
Yeah, to Disney.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like I saw the old Times Square as a tourist, but then by the time I moved here, everything was closed up, and then in the midst
Yeah.
of the transformation into the horror show that it is now.
Oh, yeah, it's insane. Yeah, it's a pretty big mess there. I have to say though, I
Yeah.
moved there in '88, and it was pretty tough back then.
Yeah, but
So
like that's what made it cool. That's what made
it
certain
is.
people want to move here. It's because like
Mm,
you heard all the horror stories and you'd be like, that's for me.
yeah.
And then by the time I got here, it was all gone. Yeah, I mean it's not all gone. But it's just it's toned down quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's family. It's gentrified. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And there's still like little pockets of grittiness, but it's not as in your face as it used to be.
Yeah. Did you so do you live in Manhattan now or are you out in the boroughs?
I'm in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a weird area. I mean, not weird, but it's like it's kind of Bed-Stuy, but it's kind of like the eastern edge of Bed-Stuy.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's like I
I,
kind of live in three different neighborhoods depending on who you ask.
that's awesome. You're like,
Yeah.
I could be cool, I could be fancy.
Mm-hmm. Like literally, like Bushwick is across the street from me, pretty much.
Oh, that's great. The only other time I've heard about Bushwick is who's that guy? Dave. Shout out Dave. He works with oof, I think he used to work with you actually, now that I think about it.
Which day?
Reg Flips on Dave, the sound
Oh,
guy, engineer.
Dave Lyles. Yeah.
Yeah, Lyles. Like he's out in, I think he's in Bushwick. Volunteered to give us a drum kit one time, and I was like, "There's no way I'm going to be able to get out to Bushwick to
Yeah.
get that kit."
Yeah. 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 He's like maybe a mile from me or something.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Oh, so you guys are out there now. I know have a visual. Great. So
Yes.
everything. So obviously, we're not here to talk about New York geography with you, but I did want to take a little trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
So I know you were born in. Gosh, let's see. You were born in Milwaukee, raised in
Yeah.
Minneapolis. Or did I get that wrong? Yeah. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
born and raised in Milwaukee until about 21 or so.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and then I moved to Minneapolis to follow the music business. I mean, I was already playing guitar. Like I started playing guitar when I was like 14 or something.
Okay. That's my
But
cousin.
the live music scene in Milwaukee was a little bit tough. There weren't necessarily a lot of venues to play, and it was really hard. Like if you wanted to start a band, you kind of had to have everything. You had to have like your own PA because like you'd go play at these places, and it'd like, yeah, sure, you can play here, but you got to bring a sound system. And so that was like really kind of prohibitive startup costs. So I moved to Minneapolis when I was 21 because they have a stronger and more established music scene. And also I was kind of chasing Janet Jackson. Um, and I always forget that.
Tell
But
us
that's
more.
that.
What do you mean? Tell us more.
I, I, I saw Janet Jackson on a TV show when I was 9. Like we're the same age. Okay.
Okay.
So like the Jackson 5 had a TV special. And at some point, and you can Google this and you can find it online. At some point in the TV special, this little girl in an evening gown sachets out, like throwing her hips around, even though she was 9 years old and didn't really have any hips. And I was just like, Michael's got a little sister, and she's my age. Like, that's my wife.
I'm
And
on it.
so, yeah. And so years come to pass, and it's like, and that was like part of my decision to go into show business because I figured that was the only way I was going to meet her. And so years later, after I was already a guitar player and all of that, she started making records in Minneapolis. And, when I decided to leave Milwaukee, it's like, I wanted to move to New York, but it seemed like a big leap. Chicago was only a couple of hours away, but I've never been attracted to Chicago. So I was like, hey, I moved to Minneapolis. I could meet Prince and maybe meet Janet Jackson and blah, blah, blah. So I moved to Minneapolis. And I lived there for 6 years. And yes, I did meet Janet Jackson. Did not meet Prince. Well, at least not at that time. I met Prince later.
Oh. So how was it meeting Janet?
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was actually good. I got to play on one of her records. That was like my first big recording session.
Which one?
The album was called Janet. It's like a sepia-toned album.
Yeah, I know that album.
Yeah, and the song is called What'll I Do? It was before I was Binky Griptite. I used my legal name of Frank Stribling.
Yeah, I know that name too.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that song.
In case you ever want to send me a check, Binky does not have a bank account. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I read the story about how you got your name too, and I was like, that's hysterical.
Yeah.
Rip.
It was.
Because I'm like, there's no way, and it doesn't.
But anyway,
yeah, go on.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, but yeah, meeting Janet was good, and got to interact with her a little bit. But we were both married to other people at the time, so womp womp.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah,
that's like my Keanu Reeves story. Oh well.
Yeah,
gotta have one of those. Mm-hmm. It does. So you get, but you got on that album. That's an incredible feat. Period.
Yeah. Like I after being in Minneapolis for a little while, like I was working at a guitar shop, and through that guitar shop, I met Jelly Bean Johnson, who is the drummer for The Time. And he's a drummer, but he's also a guitar player. He's like kind of more passionate about guitar. Like playing drums is his job, but playing guitar is his passion. And so I sold him a guitar, and then we struck up a friendship. And then when it was time for her to come back to Minneapolis and make her next record, he asked me to play on it, and it was cool.
That's awesome. That's a good friend. Yeah. It's a good friend.
Yeah,
that's nice. Mm-hmm. And The Time, I mean, they were a thing too. Not too shabby. So how, just out of curiosity, like, how did you wind up meeting all these? How do you meet? Like, I'm sure there's eventually going to be, people listening to this going, how do you get to meet those people that you can make that happen? Was it just a special period of time, or did you like know where to go? Was it just studio driven? How did that work?
Well, at that time I was working at a large musical instrument store, soon to be bankrupt.
Okay.
And yeah, it's like I was really shy in my normal life, but I found that it was really easy for me to talk about guitars, and that made me a really good guitar salesman because I mean, I was just like, I had the gift. And so anyway, so while I was there, I became like the head of the guitar department, and I worked a lot of hours. So and because it was a major store, I met like a lot of like people come in there for their supplies or whatever. Yeah, like I sold guitars to Mick Mars from Motley Crue, when they were on tour, like stuff like that. But yeah, it's like I I met Jelly Bean from the time there. I met Jesse Johnson from the time there, just working in the store and just selling them guitars. Another Minneapolis legend named Willie Murphy, you know, sold him a guitar, sold him an amp, and then I wound up being the guitar player in his band for years.
Nice. That's smart.
You know,
really smart.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So then you were like, okay, enough of Minneapolis. I'm going to go to New York.
Yeah.
To get there.
One of the rules in the Minneapolis music business at that time, you know, certainly in the 90s, and I don't know, but definitely during the time that I was there, it's like if you stay in Minneapolis long enough and you're in the music business, you will work for Prince. You know, because he was just the big fish, and
he's it.
Yeah, and I sort of got to that point where that would have been like the next thing on the horizon for me. And I decided that I didn't want to work for Prince because I just heard too many stories. And so I was just like, yeah, it's like, it's time to leave. Because like, if that's the only next thing I can go to, it was just better to go to a different town.
So you decided. So when did you? So you didn't meet him then?
I didn't meet him then. Certainly, had been in the same room with him like multiple times because he used to hang out. There's a band that had a regular Monday and Tuesday night gig, and they were like sort of like some of the top players in Minneapolis on the scene, and he would frequent that club and actually would recruit band members from that club and from that scene. So it's like sometimes you're pulling up to the bar and you say, oh, there's that big fat yellow BMW. It's like Prince is here, and it was not uncommon to see him just like hanging out in the back of the bar, just like watching. Every once in a while he would jump on stage, although I did tend to miss him on the nights when he would jump on stage. But also while I lived there, he opened his own club called Glam Slam, and like I've seen some of his club shows when I lived in Minneapolis, and some of the private parties at Paisley Park, and it's just like, yeah, that was just part of the landscape of living in Minneapolis at that.
Yeah. When did you move? So you were 21 when you moved there. How long were you there?
About 6 years. I left like in. No, that doesn't add up. I guess if I left in 96, that would have made me 30. So maybe I was 20. I don't know. I was there for like somewhere between 6 and 8 years. Okay,
that's about right. Yeah. So, and obviously it's a big commitment to a city that's like event, so that in your mind, that was where you were going to be. Did you feel like there was like I'm just out of curiosity, like when you were growing up in, between Milwaukee and Minneapolis, were there like music besides obviously Janet Jackson and Prince, but like, were there music pieces that like inspired you? Was there like a particular sound that you were like, oh, once you picked up the guitar at 14, you were like, oh my God, this is like the kind of lane I like? Or were you just like open-minded to everything?
Well, I always liked like my earliest like true favorite band was Funkadelic. They just got me at a really, really young age, like definitely by the time I was 7. Excuse me.
Wow.
Because obviously, like,
very young.
being a child, like I was born in 1966. So, I grew up with like 70s music, like in real time. Like it's not nostalgia for me. Like that was really my music from the time, whatever, if I was 5 in 1971, Yeah. And I think probably the first concert I ever saw was probably the Jackson 5. But the first record that really, really turned me on was Cosmic Slop by Funkadelic, which I believe came out in 74. So that would have made me like 8 years old. And and because I had older brothers, I still have older brothers. I became aware of Bootsy Collins as a musician and as a person and a character and just as a star in his own right. And so he was like my first true musical idol.
God, that's great. That's a good one.
Yeah. And I just, I just wanted to be like Bootsy. Like I wanted to be a bass player. Um, and more importantly, I did not want to be a person that worked in an office behind a desk, 9 to 5 every day.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And so
That's
like
foresight.
all those things kind of came together, and I was just like,
Mm.
no, I'm going to be a musician. And you know,
Yeah.
from the time that I decided till the time I got my first instrument was a long, long wait.
Really? Wait, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like how long?
I mean, a good like 5, 6 years. Like I didn't really get my first instrument until I was, I think, 13 or 14.
So how did you know that you were any good at it?
I mean, well, I guess like my first, I had like little clues along the way. I could just tell that I had an aptitude for music. I remember
Mm.
one time in kindergarten, like, you know, tell this to kids, like back in the day, there used to be music classes, public school.
Yeah,
Um,
I know.
and so I remember one day in kindergarten, like, I don't know, or maybe first grade or something, but like there was just like a pair of bongos and
Mm.
whatever. And just like, I just like was able to just like pick up the bongos and like play the bongos and like keep time.
Rhythm. Mm.
And actually,
Mm.
when I was younger, like one of my older sisters had a guitar, an acoustic guitar, but it was like a classical with a big, huge neck. It was too big for me to even pretend to play it. But I would just use the guitar as a drum because it was a hollow body guitar and it had a nice sound when you know, sort of hit it, and I knew that I could hit it in different places and get different sounds. So I was already sort of like using the guitar as a percussion instrument. And so one day in school, I got my hands on the bongos and I just like started ripping it up on the bongos, and that sounded good. I was like, hey, I can do like I just not like I was like a virtuoso percussionist at that age, but I was just like this is a thing I can figure out.
Yeah.
And also like I sort of discovered that like I could harmonize things, like if I could like listen to some pop tune and I could like sing along with it and just like find the harmonies that would complement the notes that the lead singer was singing.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, all of that combined with my desire to not work a job, you know, I was just like, I can figure this out. Like this is within my reach.
So like along the way, like if you think about like when you were, you know, kind of making your decision to do guitar versus bass and stuff. I mean, at what point did you actually pick up you said 14 for guitar. Was it the same for like, did you just bypass bass then? You just went straight to guitar?
Oh, well, yeah, like
Got that?
my brother got me a bass, but then like nobody was giving me lessons, and I was sort of like I would just hang on to it and I would just like sit with it and play with it like a toy, but like I didn't know how to tune it. I didn't know how to whatever, and like I really was kind of waiting for somebody to show me how to do it. And then it came up missing. I think I had the same bass stolen twice. The
Jesus.
first time it got stolen out of my house by a family member that had, you know, drug issues. Then I found it and got it back. It's a long story. But anyway, to give you the shorter version of the story, I switched back and forth from bass to guitar and then back to bass,
Oh.
and ultimately back to guitar.
Mm.
And one of the reasons was just with like being so obsessed with Bootsy, I was also intimidated by him. I was like, well, I'm never going to be the best bass player in the world. He's already the best bass player in the world, so I might as well just switch to guitar.
That's great. So then you committed at 14 to guitar.
Yeah.
Do you think that music was like the primary force in your life when you were growing up then, or were there other things like getting your attention?
Yeah, that was pretty much it as far as like, you know,
Okay.
hopes and dreams go. Like I figured like that was my
Yeah.
ticket out of the show or whatever. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had like I used to play. Yeah, I never like dreamed of sports. I was never really, I'm just not a sporty kid like that.
Mm. Do you like, I know I always like to ask the question, like, what was your first memory with music? And then like, what was your like official moment when it became your career? And to just kind of get perspective on how long it takes for you to, you know, really do that. And in your case, it's so unique because obviously there's a lot of things. Do you feel like your first memory with music was the Janet Jackson component at 9, or do you think there was even like maybe earlier things because of music, like this, like you said, 1971 having sounds and stuff at 5? Like, would that be a thing that you were like, what's this? You know?
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, like, yes, there's a lot of things I could name it. I guess, like, yeah, seeing the Jackson 5 at the age of 5 or 6. Well, like in Milwaukee, there's a music festival, a very long-standing. Some people would even say, especially if you ask anybody in Milwaukee, they'll tell you that it's the mother of American music festivals. It's called Summerfest.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, and like that's where I saw the Jackson 5 when I was a child.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
And it's like,
okay.
I think it probably started in 68.
Yeah.
And so that was just like a
right.
summer, that was just a tradition. It was like 11-day festival.
It's huge.
Still going strong.
Mm-hmm.
And, eventually, got to play there with Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings a couple of times.
Okay, we're moving ahead. Hold on.
But so yeah, maybe that's like some of my earliest memories. But like,
okay,
yeah, I just looked at how musicians were living, and I looked at like the television representations of what, like, how whatever, like how the dads on all the TV shows were living, just like going to these offices and coming home beat. I'm just like, I'm not doing that.
Mm-mm. Yeah, you're like, oh, you're hip fast. You're way smarter than me. I was like, give me a corporate job. Just kidding.
Yeah.
When you think of an inspiration for your current music right now, were any of the people who is Bootsy still an inspiration for you? Do you think that's like something you still have like a vibe for? Because I know you really like funk and soul too. So obviously soul, but funk too.
Yeah. It's definitely still. I mean, my
Amazing.
taste really haven't changed much. Like my 3 favorite earliest songs would be. I remember the song like "Love Is Blue." Remember, "Blue, blue, my love is blue."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like Paul Murray-out or something. Yeah, I love that song as a kid. And also "Sugar Sugar" by the Archies.
That's a good song.
And like "Inagata Davida." Because like one of my older siblings had that record. I think probably my sister, and she was but like and so it's like between like the sweetness of the melody and then the poppiness of "Sugar Sugar" and then like the heaviness of "Inagata Davida, like my tastes haven't changed. I still like sappy melodies. I still like poppy hooks, and I still like heavy guitars and rhythm sections.
That's amazing. That might have just blown my mind. Did you see this? This is like my mind just going.
It happens.
That's amazing.
Mission accomplished.
That synthesis is so perfect. Yeah. I'm like, okay, what's that?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm for better or worse, I'm still the same person I've always been.
That's cool. See, and that's when you know you're doing the right thing, because you don't have to like modify who you are to just be successful as what you do. So that's good. Kudos to you. So, okay, now that you've gone through all those cities, like, do you have a favorite city you like to play in? Just out of curiosity.
No, because once you're on stage, they're kind of all the same, to be honest.
It doesn't matter. That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some places where like when you're there, walking around or just like, looking at the people, i.e. women, you think like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind living here. Or actually like architecture really grabs me, architecture and climate. And so there's definitely some cities that I'm attracted to more than others. But even just recently I've been thinking about moving, but like it's hard to imagine myself not living in New York at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I thought the same thing too, but you'd be surprised,
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, like Barcelona would be lovely. It's like I would love to move to Barcelona or I can't remember the name of my favorite city in Portugal. But
manifest. Yeah, but I get it.
Yeah,
Is it Lisbon? Lisboa?
Yeah, of course, Lisbon. And there's still like great cities in America where I'd love to live, but still it's Brooklyn for now and for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, for the time being. So, okay, at what point do you think, when did you actually start, like, your career was music earning? Do you remember who were you working, like, was it like the Janet Jackson thing, obviously you couldn't have just started there. What was the starting
No,
point?
it didn't start
Like,
there. Like I was in like when I was in Milwaukee, I was playing in bars.
okay.
But
So you were
still had
young.
yeah, well, yeah, in my like late 20s. I'm sorry, like late teens and early 20s. Like, but still, just like I had a job and I was playing on the weekends.
Got
Um,
it. Okay.
but there was a period in the Minneapolis years where I was just only playing music, and I wasn't making much money at it, but I also had a low overhead life.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Designed.
no, and actually, no, that's not true. I did still have a bar job, um, but after a few years in New York, and actually particularly after I got with Antibalas and well, first it was the Soul Providers, then Antibalas, and then the Dap Kings. Um, that's what led to like just being musician only.
Career musician. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you moved to New York. You moved to New York and you knew people there, obviously. You didn't just
No,
move there.
no, I did just move.
Did
Like
it?
I'm my oldest sister. I'm the youngest of seven, and I moved in with my oldest sister. I guess there's probably like 14 years spread between us. And she lived in Hackensack, New Jersey.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I moved in. I slept on her floor for a little while until I got a foothold into the city. But I actually okay. What had happened was I was playing on the blues scene in Minneapolis, and this is like late '80s. Like Stevie Ray Vaughan was big, and just like that whole scene. I was really into Stevie Ray Vaughan, and just being that type of guitar player. But I got bored with that scene, and I got bored with like my life. I had like a whole bunch of other stuff a bunch of changes that I don't need to go into. But I decided
So you
that
blew it up.
yeah, I just blew it. I was like, I needed a change, and I just was like, I'm gonna stop playing guitar because I was just like, I was a bit of a, to me, like I think I was a wanker because I was just all about guitar solos, and I just got bored with hearing myself take the same guitar solo on every song.
Mm.
And so I moved to New York to not be a musician, but just to be a New Yorker. And I literally didn't touch a guitar for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I just, got a job at a restaurant. I was like started well, I had several jobs, but I eventually wound up bartending. And bartending is pretty, like you can support yourself like fairly
Yeah.
decently if you get a decent job. And so I did that for a little while. And then after a couple of years, I started getting the itch again. But I wanted to come back different. I didn't want to join a blues band and just be a soloist. Like I just really wanted to work on my rhythm chops and just play rhythm because
Mm.
when you're a soloist, when you're that kind of wanker guitar player, you just attract other wanker guitar players. And like I just wanted to play for party people. I wanted to play for people that were dancing. And and so right about that time where I decided I wanted to like get back into playing, um, I met Gabriel Roth from at that time he had this well we met through a mutual friend. I feel like I'm just rambling on, but you can
No, go for it. I'm fascinated.
But yeah, so I met Gabe through a mutual friend, who subsequently became his first wife. But she introduced us. She's like, "Oh, hey, you're a guitar player. Come meet my new boyfriend. He's a bass player." And this happened in a club where like there was like a funk night. The DJ was playing, and so anyway, we sat down, we started talking, and he was talking about how he was looking for a guitar player for this project he was working on, but it was like they were doing like James Brown inspired funk, and it's hard to find a guitar player because guitar players just want to be wankers, and there's like nobody wants to just keep it in their pocket. And I was just like, yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. It's like I used to be that, but like now I just want to, that's way more interesting.
Hold it down.
Yeah, instead of just going, it's like I just got tired of being that guy. And so anyway, we started talking and we like clicked and we were just on the same level. And so he invited me to come down and meet his musical partner and also his label partner. Philip was a drummer, Gabe was a bass player, and so you put a guitar player there and you got a band. So he invited me to come down to their studio and play with them, and he was like he was and he counted off like give it up and turn it loose, right? And we're just like. And so, what I found out, like what I found out later was their goal was like, okay, we're gonna play Give It Up, Turn It Loose, and see how long it takes for him to like start soloing. And 20 minutes later,
it was a test.
Still, but I did not vary. Like
I could keep at this all night.
Because I mean, there's only three of us. If I stop playing rhythm to go do a wanky solo, then then it's like everything falls apart. So it's like, no, obviously I'm not going to start. So anyway, so that and so we determined that we were all on the same page, and then that's how I joined the Soul Providers. And at that time, he was working on this Lee Fields record. Let's Get a Groove On.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, Lee's great. Still, he's a legend, and it's still going. And any of you out there that aren't familiar with Lee Fields, you should be.
Yeah, please. I just texted him before the show. I was like, Binky's going to be on tonight. Let's tune in. If you don't know who Lee Fields is, educate yourself, because he's like the cream of the crop. It's just everything. He's everything. Definitely. I don't know if you know this, but he sang at Ruby's wedding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with the Soulphonics as a backing band. It was amazing.
Oh, nice.
Ruby Bell. Yeah. But anyway, okay, so you get brought into the Soul Providers, and you guys are literally providing the soul for Lee Fields. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So shortly after I met Gabe, I played on 2 songs on that album, which they just reissued. It was originally issued on Desco Records. Desco Records folded. Gabe and his business partner had a split, and then that led Gabe to go on and form Daftone Records. But in the interim, we started. I did those 2 songs with for that LP. We did a few shows with Lee, but we didn't really do any proper tours. It was for me like my first trip to England. We went to England to do a fairly big show over there, and that was a big thrill and a big step ahead. And and going back to one of your previous questions, that was when you're filling out customs forms to go to another country, they ask you your profession, and like I felt odd about it, but I really had no choice. Like I'm a musician now, like I had to put musician in that box, and I was like, And I didn't really feel like I felt like a fraud, but like even that came back to me years later, because with all the traveling that we did, every time it's like you got to fill that out, like your profession. It's like, and after like 4 or 5 times, I was like, okay, I'm a musician now.
Amazing. Well, at least it's a dawn of reckoning that you can point back to. You're like, okay, I really was a musician.
Yeah. It's like I was literally getting on a plane, flying 6 hours, go to another country, and get paid $14 to play my guitar.
It's technically no longer imposter syndrome. It's like real.
Yeah.
$14. Yeah. It matters.
Yeah, it does.
Oh my God. So you do all this stuff with Lee.
Yeah.
Well, with the Soul Providers, and you get to the byproduct is you get to work with Lee. Were there other artists at the time that you were working with besides Lee? Was it how did Sharon come into the picture? I know the answer to this.
Yes. Well, to the strict chronology of events would be shortly after I started with the Soul Providers. One of the sax players, Martin Perna, and he mentions like, and saying, hey, we have this other like side project, and like I knew nothing about Fela, but then they started educating me about Fela. It's like we have this other side project called Antibalas, and you should come down and hang out with that. And so I went to my first Antibalas gig, and I played percussion. I played the clave, which is like two thick two thick sticks. You sounds easy, but like this muscle right here, see that?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
right there?
This one. Yeah.
It burns. It burns. Like you try doing that for 45 minutes and like it's a workout. But so I joined Antibalas in the percussion section. Eventually moved, quickly after a couple of gigs, I became the second guitar player. And then at some point, and Gabe was also the bass player. Like, and at that point, there was very little difference between the Soul Providers and Antibalas. It was basically the same.
Say.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same band or name. And then at some point, Gabe had to leave town. He had to miss a gig. So I switched over to bass because we had two guitar players. So instead of trying to find some stranger and teach them all his songs, I was just like, well, I can just play bass. So I switched to bass, and then when Gabe came back, he switched to guitar. So then Antibalas is rolling.
Nice.
And both bands are like just taking local gigs. But then now Sharon came into the picture originally as a back.
Sorry, that was still like the 90s then, right? Just so I'm clear on the time.
Yeah, this is probably like 98.
98, that's what I would think. And then Sharon came in, you said, as a background singer?
Yeah, because and this was, I wasn't necessarily present for this. I probably came aboard like shortly after this all happened. But one of the sax players that Gabe was working with, at some point, Gabe needed a backup singer. And this guy, the sax player, Joe, was like, hey, my girlfriend's a singer. I could call her. And that's Sharon Jones. And so Sharon came in and also sang backup on a couple of tunes on that Lee Fields record. And then I think even they came up with like some impromptu jam, and she recorded vocals for that. I think that became a 45 called The Landlord. Awesome. And like I said, this was like shortly before I came aboard. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so we did a few gigs with Lee Fields, but Lee had his own career going. And he had sort of like higher requirements than we did as far as like, the amount of pay that he would expect. Like, we did that trip to England, but like, he's like, I need to get this much. Like, I need to bring my wife.
Yeah.
It's like, he's like a grown ass man that already had his own shit going on. So I'm going to be fucking around with you little kids. It's got to be like this. He's got house payments. He's got kids to support, And so we didn't get to do as many gigs with Lee as we might have wanted to. But then Sharon kind of had less going on. Sharon was just like down for whatever.
Nice.
So Gabe, being the ambitious young man that he is, he's just like, well, he decided to follow that track because with Sharon, the whole operation just had lower overhead and sort of higher enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. So, that's how that happened. Like there was no like big break or anything. It's not that Lee wasn't into it, but he just, he just had higher overhead.
Yeah. He's very specific. Even still today, he's very specific.
He's a businessman and an artist and just an all around great dude. But yeah,
he's lovely. We love him. So Sharon's down. She's into it, and you guys start doing recording with her.
Yes.
For Daptone.
Yeah.
The Dap Kings. But actually, no. Yeah. The Dap Kings. It was the Soul Providers with her.
Right. Yeah. And so like all of these things, like as far as like Desco Records falling apart, and also Lee kind of not being so available, like they just were all sort of happening at the same time. And so when Desco fell apart, Gabe was just like, okay, I got to keep going. He had like tons of bills, NYU loans, and all of that. It's not a cheap school.
I went to NYU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there multiple times, but that's about it. But yeah, so anyway, he had all these songs. He's like, he's a pretty prolific writer. and he won't sing them himself, but he met Sharon, and Sharon was just like down. Sharon had spent so many years doing wedding bands and whatnot. She wanted to do an original material, even if she didn't write it. At least she's still singing an original song that was written for her. So yeah, that led to the first Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings record.
And you're a part of that.
What's that?
And you were a part of that.
Yes, yeah. At that point, we were already a band. It's like because we'd done sporadic Soul Providers gigs. We never did a Soul Providers tour. I mean, not a proper tour. I guess we did do we went to England for multiple dates, like sort of like 7 or 8 shows or something like that, a couple of times. But we didn't do any American touring or anything like that.
Okay. So how did you come up? How did you go from the Soul Providers? I know the offshoot was the Antibalas, but I'm presuming that the Soul Providers to the Dap Kings was really the transformation at that point.
Well, yeah, it's like with after the dissolution of Desco Records, Gabe was like all new stuff, and mind you, this is all his baby, his brainchild. Like people tend to think or assume that I'm the band leader or that I was the band leader, and that's not the case. I mean, I was an MC, which gave me a lot of prominence in the stage show, and a lot of input into the stage show. But as far as making the records and being a partner in the label and all of that, that's like all like
that's all. Yeah, Gabe, that makes sense.
Yeah. But
I mean, the relationship you have with artists to be able to do musical interpretation for them, I think is, that's a piece of this too, because they don't just go, oh, okay, whatever. They have to be drawn to a sound.
Yeah, definitely. So anyway, so that all happened. Yes, and so I guess after Desco broke up, he, from whatever, probably drank a bunch of whiskey and just like, it shall be called Daptone, and he came up with the name Daptone Records, and he came up with the name the Dap Kings, and I was just like, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. And whatever. So it became Sharon Jones.
You were around for the whole experience and just was like, yep, sure. Everybody, sounds like everybody was just like, yeah, I'm good, whatever.
Yeah. And mind you, at this point in my life, it's like I'd sort of been through a bunch of periods of like trying to make it. And sort of like even, multiple times playing in bands that I wasn't necessarily in love with, but just because it was just an opportunity to play and also an opportunity to make, $50 and get free drinks. But by the time I moved to New York and took my little hiatus and then came back to it, I decided that I didn't want to play in any bands that I didn't like. And
smart.
So with doing all this stuff, I was just like, I didn't have any dreams of making it. Like I was just like, I was just like, we were so far away from the pop trends of the moment. I was like convinced that there's no way we're going to make it. But that was never an issue. I wasn't in it to make it. I was in it to actually have fun. And that's the lesson, kids. You just have to have fun first. And if it's fun, if it's fun, then you can keep doing it long enough to make it. That's, I wish somebody had told me that earlier. But But anyway, that's what happened.
That's amazing. And that's really great advice. Just stay with it and make sure you're having fun. If you're not having fun, it's just too much work. You can't keep it up. You can't keep it up. You can't care that, if you don't care, it's just so much work.
Yeah. Because like what your average kid doesn't know is that it takes 10 years to be an overnight sensation. And like it's if you're going to keep doing that for 10 years before you get that first big break, then there's got to be something in it. Like you should like the people that you're doing it with. You should like the music that you're playing. And there should be something, something driving you other than just the dream of winning the lottery.
Yeah, agreed. I totally agree. So, okay, so Sharon puts out her first album. You guys are all on it.
Yeah.
And it blows up.
I wouldn't necessarily say that, but
okay. I'm like, what happened? Tell me.
It just gave us enough encouragement to keep going. It did like strike a
Was it the
chord.
100 Days one? Is that the first album?
Oh no, the first one is Dap Dippin' with Sharon Jones.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking because 100 Days was like a banger album.
Yeah,
So
I want to say that
okay.
was the third one.
Really? Wow. Okay. Wow. That's
And
amazing.
like I said before, it's like I'm like chronology is not my thing.
Yeah, I know you
Uh,
were. Yeah, we've already
the,
caveat. So chronology is
the
not
past
his thing.
like back there.
Yeah,
Um,
it's in the past.
yeah,
Okay, so
but
so
something
Sharon's doing well, but not. She's not like.
right.
But you're
Well, you
enjoying
know
it.
what what Gabe and now his new partner Daptone is Neil Sugarman, and what they knew, and which I was just learning about at that time is that there's this community of DJs like and it's hard to imagine it now, but like vinyl sales were at an all-time low. It's like it was really sort of like the peak of CD. It was very much in the CD era, and like but there's like a community of DJs, largely DJs, and also record collectors that was sort of keeping vinyl alive, and particularly in Britain and other parts of Europe. But there's a strong funk scene in England, and so here we were, like a new band doing old music and releasing it on vinyl. Like DJs and record collectors got very, very interested, and they
Yeah,
started, it's like they were doing our promo for us,
that's
and like
cool. That's
more
there you
than
go.
once, yeah, more than once, someone would come across our record and be absolutely convinced that it was an old record, and
Yeah.
they're like, no, that just came out. That band is still alive, and so from the very start when we started going to England, we had like really enthusiastic crowds because
Mm.
you had all these younger people, and mind you, like I was like whatever in my early middle 30s, and Sharon was like almost exactly 10 years older than me, but
Mm.
we're playing to like all these kids in their 20s that are just like really excited to be hearing this type of
That's
music
great.
live,
Yeah.
especially played by actual Americans, and a couple of us
Yeah.
were actually black even.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah,
Amazing. Yeah, they must have just been so into it. So
yeah,
how long were you guys working together so because of the label, I know you did other things too. So it
yeah.
wasn't like you were just in a band when you were like helping to bring the production to life, right?
Um, yeah. I mean, like
Or were
we were
you in bands?
the
Like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, Gabe did the bulk of the arranging. We sort of massaged it a little bit to make it work, obviously. But
mhm.
it's like it was largely on him.
So how did you guys get introduced to Amy then?
Um, Mark Ronson again is a DJ and a vinyl collector, and
Oh,
and he just got to know us through our records. I think the story
mm,
that I heard was Kanye West, in his early days, he sampled one of our songs for a mixtape that he did, not on not an officially released record, but like a mixtape with I
mm.
don't know which rapper, Rhyme Fest or something, but he just like sampled a little snippet of a song called the Dap Dip. If you listen to the song of the Dap Dip, it starts off with me saying like, oh, I don't know, it starts off with me and Sharon talking, and Sharon says it's a brand new thing. And so they sampled her saying it's a brand new, brand new, and this sample is like going throughout the song.
Um,
And so when they went to do the legal stuff that they have to do for samples,
licensing, yeah.
yeah, and they're going. Yeah, I mean, they just like found this 45 in some record store, and just as I said, assumed that it was an old record.
Right,
But
that they were no longer around.
right, so then when they started trying to license it, they found out like not only is this a current band, but like they're right across the river in Brooklyn. So that led, and this would be like '06 or '07, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, and so then Mark started hiring the horn section to work on some of his productions. It was like probably right when he was starting to do his solo record version,
Hmm.
which I probably have. on the other side of the room somewhere. And yeah, so he started hiring the horn section for things here and there. Then he started hiring the rhythm section. The whole band played on a couple of songs on the version record. And then while he was in the middle of doing his record, he got hooked up with Amy to do her record. And it was just like I don't know, is that what they call a perfect storm, where like all these things come together? And yeah, it was just like all the right stuff at the right time, where she was, he was already working on this sound, and then she was into her like 60s girl group stuff. And so yeah, somebody at Universal connected them, and then they started hanging out, and it all happened really quick.
Yeah.
At least as far as I know it. Like, I don't know how long he was working with her, but by the time we got involved, we did like 6 songs in 4 days, and it like changed everything.
6 songs in 4 days. Do you remember what the songs were?
I remember what the songs were. I don't necessarily remember the order. I remember.
That's okay.
I was just reading something the other day. Somebody had mentioned what the first song was. But anyway, like basically all of the hits on the record.
You're like, all the hits. I love it.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like, and I like the other songs on the record as well. Like Salam Remy was the other producer, and he did a great job, and Amy did a great job of writing all of them. And it's amazing that like Salam songs and Ronson songs can like sit next to each other really well, and they make still sounds like one record. But we did Rehab, I'm No Good, Back to Black,
Phenomenal.
He Can Only Hold Her. I'm spacing on the other 2.
Was it Valerie?
Yeah, we did Valerie. No, Valerie's not on that record.
I have the It's not. I was gonna say, because I don't think it's on that record. Hold on, I have it here.
I can tell you a Valerie story also.
It's Rehab, I'm No Good, Me and Mr. Jones, Just Friends, Back to Black, Love is a Losing Game, Tears Dry on Their Own. Love is a Losing Game.
Dry on Their Own.
Yeah, Tears Dry on Their Own, Wake Up Alone, Some Unholy War, He Can Only Hold Her, and Addicted.
Yeah.
If you have not heard this album, shame on you.
Yeah, it's it's easier to name the ones that we didn't do. We did not do Addicted, did not do Me and Mr. Jones, did not do Some Unholy War.
Okay.
Damn it! Now
Love is a Losing Game. So you did Rehab, I'm No Good, Back to Black, Love is a Losing Game, Wake Up Alone, and He Can Only Hold Her. I got it.
Yeah. And
the rest by him.
I think He Can Only Hold Her was the last one we did. I'm No Good, I believe, was the first one we did. Like the first day we probably did I'm No Good. We did Rehab maybe on the first day.
So did you like know her before you went into the studio, or is it like one of those sessions where you just get put in the room and you're like, okay, we're gonna figure this out?
She wasn't even there. We didn't meet her until months later.
Oh wow! So you just put it together and then she sang to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, because Mark was there and he was guiding it. Like he came in the first day with like he knew all the chord charts. Well, he had the CD like demos of her singing it. But like we'd never we didn't know what she looked like, never met her, never talked to her or whatever. But he had the CD of the demos of the songs, and so we just learned the songs by ear. Wrote down our own little charts. And then the second day, but it was kind of hard to like get the vibe for it. So on the second day, he brought back like one of those like digital like the CDJ players where like you can it has like a little thing on it where you can scratch a CD just as if you were a DJ with a vinyl record. And so and he had like acapellas of her singing. So he would like try to like play that in time with us while the band was recording. And it did help, because it helped to like hear the song how it was supposed to sound.
That's cool.
Yeah. But no, we didn't meet her until like December of that year. Like I imagine that we recorded those songs probably in the spring. And then the album came out in December, and then right when the album was released, she came to New York to do a showcase at Joe's Pub, and like that was the first time we met her, and that's when she did Valerie.
Okay,
So,
and that was, you played with her then, right, live?
yes, we did. Yes, we did, but she redid the vocals, but I think she did sing along with us.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were saying Valerie?
Yeah. Have you heard both versions of the song?
I mean, I know if I have them on vinyl, so whatever I have on vinyl, I guess, yes. I'm terrible.
Well,
This is where I'm like, I'm back.
The first Valerie originally appeared on Mark's record on Version, and it's got
Okay,
like
so then
and so it's got that like Brits love Motown. Like there's a big scene in the north of England called Northern Soul. They love Motown and Motown derivative stuff. And like You Can't Hurry Love is just like one of these beats. Boom, 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 boom. And so he came in and he played us this song by the Zootons. And like we were not in love with the song at all. And then he said like, it's like, yeah, it's a great song. I was like, I don't like this version, but I want you guys to do it like this kind of Can't Hurry Love beat. Boom, boom, boom. And we did it, and we were like, okay. But like we were just like, no, we don't want to do that. And so we spent some time coming up with another vibe, because like we were just, at that point we were kind of really into soul music. And so it's like there's this song that I had in my head that was really popular amongst the guys in the band at that time. What's it called? Got to Get Through to You, I think. But it starts off like this. And I just kept sort of playing that until like the rest of the band kind of heard it. Like, yeah, we should go in that direction. But then we just wound up with this sort of 16th note soul beat for it. And so we did the whole song with that version. Where is it? And so we, and it like took us like, I don't know, like an hour and a half, and we got that version down. And then Mark's like, great, that's great. Just for me, can you just like go back and do the other version too, and do the Can't Hurry Love stuff? And they're like, yeah, okay, fine, Mark. And so we did that too. And he still put the fast version on his record. But every time we played it live, Amy preferred the
That's the version I know. That's the version I know. Yeah. So
and,
I think that's the version everybody knows.
Well, no.
What was which one was the one that was like a hit? Like, because I feel like when I see the way that they word, there's a Valerie, and then there's like I can't remember what the wording is afterwards, but I know that there were two versions of the song. I just didn't realize that one of them was on his album.
Yeah, no, the fast version was the hit. The slow version wasn't officially released until she died on the posthumous record.
Okay, so maybe that's why I remember that one.
Yeah, because the first one. Well, sometimes I go out by myself.
Yeah. It's very staccato.
Like that. But it's still, both of those versions are
great
better
versions.
than the original. If you ever heard the original, it's like you would never guess that song was actually as cool as it is.
I have to check that one out, because I did realize that I was looking through all the credits recently, and I was like, oh my God, that's not even there. Yeah. So I didn't realize that. Yeah.
It's like, and you will be amazed and appalled.
Oh no. Poor guys. Well, I'm just glad that it got to where it got, because it probably has. It's been like an up, it's one of those things that you put on and everybody just knows it. You know what I mean? It's just like a vibe. it starts a vibe. And it's kind of crazy to think that, when did that release? You said like 2000, well, it must have been 2011 or 12 then, right? That second version?
The second version, yeah, it's like, I can't remember what year she died.
2011, I think she passed.
Yeah, well, but then it would have been like at least a year. So maybe it just came out in 12 or 13.
Maybe it was later, yeah. But I feel like it was like one of those, it feels like it's always been there. You know, it's just it feels like a staple.
That was, if you, especially if you're looking at YouTube videos or whatever, that was the way it was performed live. But the faster version was on Mark's record and on a lot of radio stations and iPods and such.
Yeah. That makes sense. If it's a pop, it's commercial. It's gotta go there. Well, and so how long did you play with her live?
We just did the North American tours. I guess like maybe like 2 tours of North America. Like we did like and they were like short tours, just like, you know, not much. It was still like getting her established, even though it's like obviously the record took off. I believe, you know, she sold like 50,000 in the first week, which is a pretty good debut for somebody that was like new to America. But I don't know. I feel like I could have it on my calendar somewhere, but like you did like maybe like not more than 15 shows in the first run. Like we did a promo tour, which included South by Southwest. The first time around.
Oh, that must have been insane.
Yeah, it was nuts. But yeah, it was. I mean, it's like mellow, but also, I mean, South by is just always South by.
It's a shit fest.
Yeah, it's like the worst time in the year to go to a really great city.
Yeah, for sure. It's never really the same during that time. So, what point did you? So you worked? Did you work on the second? You worked on the second out. Wait, for Amy. When did Sharon come back into the picture?
Oh well, I mean, never.
Was she always there?
It's like it was
okay, so she was always there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, we just like had like side gigs with Amy because
got it.
Because stuff came up and it's like it's not even like we were like, you know, paid so much in money, but you know it was good. Sort of like helped boost the profile of the band. We got some trickle on publicity, and so it helped. It helped, you know, more people learn about the band because it's like, you know, when her record came out, it was like such a new sound for so many people, you know, especially like industry insiders are like, what is this? Like, oh, it's this Mark Ronson. Like, oh, how did you do that? And blah, blah, blah. And you know, thankfully, like they didn't bury us. Like we, you know, it was made known that, you know, this is the Dap Kings as the sound of the band. And so, I mean, I guess we might have delayed the release of, maybe that was 100 Days. What year did 100 Days come out?
Oh, man, I do want to remember it. Let me take a look. I think that was around that same time.
Yeah. So I think 100 Days did get slightly delayed just so that we could make sure that we weren't competing with ourselves. And yeah, by going out with Amy and like, you know, we did like all the North American television. It was great. You know, got to do Letterman, did Leno, and all the South by stuff. So it helped with the band.
That's awesome. So I was going to ask, 2007 was when 100 Days came out.
Okay. And then what was that?
That must have been like before. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Amy's stuff came out in 2007 too. Is that possible? Is that right? Am I crazy? Yeah, 2007. So that was a big year for soul. Really big year. Amazing. Yeah. And you were touching both. How crazy is that? So this is why I was so excited. It has to have been because I just looked, unless Spotify's wrong.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the, no, it was 2006.
Well, this says 2007 and the other one, but yeah, it's about the same time. Okay.
Well, yeah, technically it came out at the end of 2006, but like it, you know, did most of its work in 2007. I do believe, but you know, I'm looking at.
Yeah, I think 2007 was the good year. Yeah, that was a crazy year. But yeah, I remember that being like, just everything about it. In fact, actually, Well, I saw Sharon. I saw you guys in Austin. It must have been South by Southwest, but it had to have been like 15.
Probably
Is it possible? Like later? Yeah. When was it? Must have been like
no, actually no. We were there the same year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because because at that point it's like Amy subsidized our trip, so it's like we did we were there the same
I
year.
never saw Amy. It was Sharon that I saw. I've never seen Amy live, so yeah.
I remember we did.
Amy subsidized the Sharon trip.
Yeah, it's like because
like
I mean, if she was paying for the whole band to go down there, it's like we only got to buy one.
May as well do other gigs.
Yeah,
amazing.
But then we did one gig of ours where Amy showed up, but like she didn't. I mean, she was just hanging out. She didn't get up and sing or anything.
It's always good. I mean, was it like it was obviously was it a time where you think back fondly, or
no?
Is it just like blurry?
No, it was definitely it was good. It was interesting to see what the major label world was like. I mean, she didn't have a lot of handlers or hangers on, but like there would definitely be like record company people around and taking her to do stuff. And I did a lot of media with her.
Because you played with her.
Yeah, and also like it's like it was just because they were really keen on doing a lot of duo things with just Amy and the acoustic guitar. And it's like for a couple of reasons, like she kind of had an affinity for me because the musical, mind you, like she had already been on tour for years in England and just Europe, and the MD of her normal road bands was also like a middle-aged bald black dude. His name is we eventually met Dale Davis, and he's a great guy, and we collaborated on stuff where like we did a half and half band. Actually, when we played at the MTV Music Awards, that was like half British and half Dap Kings, and like one of the few times like me and Dale were both on stage, and it was on TV. So but like many times like people see pictures of him in the background with Amy and they think it's me. It's like no, it's a different black dude. Yeah. But what was I gonna say? But yeah, it was a fun. Oh yeah, so I got to do a lot of those like promo gigs with her, just with the acoustic guitar. She was also really amused by my name.
Your name is amazing. We know it's not really your name, but we love it.
My name is whatever I tell you, Jules. Oh, Jules is your last name. See, but no,
it's okay. Everybody calls me that anyway. Nobody ever can say my first name.
Yeah, it totally works. But yeah, it's like so when her record
she's like Binky.
No,
how did she say your name?
This is from Mark Ronson. It's like she gets the CD or whatever, and she's looking at the credits, and she goes to Mark. It's like, you mean to tell me somebody named Binky Griptite played on my record? And so like she already kind of liked me before we ever met.
So it's a good thing it wasn't negative.
Yeah.
But like, what is this name?
Yeah, it was like ridiculous. But we got to hang out a little bit, just doing those duo gigs, and she was just pretty casual, normal little 24-year-old young lady,
I gotta tell you, if I could go back to any time in music, it probably like between that era, just from like the transformation of soul music, having a like a shot in the arm of, like you said, these young people, kind of coming around and everything sort of resurgence. And Mayor Hawthorne, the first time I met Mayor Hawthorne, I thought I saw him and we were talking and I said, I just have to ask, like, is this your music or did you take old black songs and like remix them? Because, I'm like, it's so authentically done. And he was like, oh no, I played everything on that, including like he sang in my ear. And I was like, damn, that's pretty impressive. So that time just felt like from there until 2010, I feel like it just really had a, just that fresh. So you're right. It wasn't trendy. It wasn't popular music in the beginning. It became that. It just like suddenly it zeitgeisted,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like it was just sort of bubbling up, and a lot of stuff was was just like primed to come to the surface, and like even Nicole Atkins, like she was working on stuff at that time. It was very in a similar vein, but like independently. But it just so happened that that like people were just ready for it, especially like coming off like the whole like, you know, Diddy era of the 90s and
Oh yeah.
everything. Like, you know, it's like it was just time for
Yeah.
sort of reset.
Your ear needed something new. Yeah, I'll never forget the first time I went into. I used to DJ as well, and I was going soul shopping and like looking for 45s. And I went into Fat Beats here in Los Angeles. I used to go to Rock and Soul in New York, which was like shout out Rock and Soul Records. That place is unbelievable. If you haven't been, it's great. But I went into Fat Beats here, and they brought out Charles Bradley. They brought out some Lee Fields for me, and they brought out Ruby Bell and the Sulphonics. And they were like, if you haven't heard from Ruby, you get it. Because I was like telling them all the stuff I liked. And it was 2000, it's like 2009, 10. So it was like that time period. And I just thought, it's like everything I own is on vinyl. It's all authentic, and it all sounds so really fresh for that time. It was just amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Loved
It
it.
was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know,
so changes.
Yeah.
I know. Then it changes. So now here we are. So obviously, and Nicole Atkins and Ruby, you know, so I wanted to talk about that because clearly you know, you're working with Sharon and she, unfortunately, like Amy passes, Sharon passes.
Yeah.
You know, it's a collective pause, like what's happening. And then I hear, you worked with the Sulphonics on their last album, and I was so grateful. I was like, wow, that's just amazing that, you know, you did that. And those songs are beautiful. Love Less Blind and Use Me or You Lose Me Forever. So if you haven't heard those are great songs. And thank you, Binky, for all your support with that.
Yeah, no problem. That. Yeah, it's like, you know, thanks to Spencer. You know, we got to know Spencer from, you know, just trips down to Atlanta. And actually, I think he knew Neil Sugarman first. But yeah, you know, and actually the one of the venues that we, probably the venue that we played in Atlanta almost every time was just like right next to their studio.
Next to the studio. I know, it's amazing.
Yeah. I wonder,
I love
think
that place.
there was Amy also.
Wow, really? Well, that's amazing. I would be willing to, it's probably because I forget the name of it, but it's definitely one of the more popular ones. I don't know if Ruby's on listening, but she can let us know later. But yeah, so now what are you focused on? Like, so I guess my question would be like with Nicole Atkins as a great example, like, are you co-writing and producing and playing guitar for her? Or is it like, do you play guitar and produce? How does it work for you now? Like, and what kind of artists are you looking for? Or do you like, you know, how do you select someone to work with?
Yes. No.
Great. Great.
with Nicole, it's like, yeah, we've co-written a couple of things. None of like the record that she currently has out. And I also worked with her on her previous record. But in both times, you know, just stood as a guitar player in a guitar playing side person capacity. She's, you know, mostly self-produced, although I think she did split the credit with Ben Tanner. But like for the most part, it's like she's the one on the ground, like doing all the production. But you know, great to work with. Like, we were introduced also by a mutual friend, Leah from Habibi, and yeah, you know, we just hit it off as sort of kindred spirits. You know, we like, you know, music from the past, like 70s and 60s stuff, and you know, she's a great talent, got a great voice. So, and you know, we've become friends, and we work on stuff whenever we can. And she's a good, strong lady. She makes things happen because she's just always like, you know, and she's kind of fearless, and you know, she's like, I want to go to Muscle Shoals and make a record. Like, Binky, you want to come to Muscle Shoals and make a record with me? I was like, yeah, I want to go to Muscle Shoals and make a record.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and so you know, got to meet a couple of legends that, you know, and work together, and you know, there's a great atmosphere of mutual respect, and it was just a great experience.
That's great. Yeah, we were talking to another artist a couple of weeks ago, Chris Pierce. He recorded his album at Muscle Shoals, and it said it was just remarkable. They brought everybody out, you know, just having all the people who have played on everything that you've ever heard. Just, you know, it's amazing. That's great.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's just like, you know, that down home in the best way possible. They treat you like the same as they treated Stevie Wonder or whatever, or anybody. Just like, you know, you're good, you know.
It's beautiful.
was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that stuff. So, okay, so basically you're open to like working with some artists if anybody's, got the chops and can hold their own and bring in some ideas. You might be flexible. That's
For sure. Yeah. It's like, every once in a while, it's like, I've had people that have reached out to me about working together, and sometimes they sort of overestimate what they think that I'm going to be able to do for them.
Interesting.
And so it's like, we got
How
to
so?
well, it's like, I had one artist that, like, I mean, I don't want to start slagging anybody off, but it's like,
Yeah, don't get me in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I can just like do everything and just like, let the singer come in and be the cherry on top. I mean, there are times when I like have something of my own and I want to hire a singer, for sure. But like if somebody else is coming to me saying like they want to make a record, then like they need to bring a record and I can help them make the record. They need to bring some songs or these like frameworks of songs or some ideas. And
sure.
I'm good at helping flesh those things out. I'm good at putting bands together and good at directing bands, and sort of like, helping build the groove and, things like that. And
Are you working on anything right now?
not really, not at the moment. Obviously 2020's got a lot of things on pause, but
yeah, 2020.
yeah, I mean, I have a record of my own that's like 90% done. But then that other 10%,
yeah, from what I read about Sharon Jones and your relationship, she says that you're a complete perfectionist. I read that thing that she said you made her sing that song, what was it, 40 times or something? She was like, I don't do that for anybody.
Maybe not 40 times, but the thing is, well, with Sharon and with a lot of singers, and it's like, and this is a great thing about Sharon, it's like she's gonna sing it the way she feels it. So it's like Sharon, it's like la 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 la, it's like Sharon like la 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 la, like, so it's like you have to like find the compromise between like the melody that you idealized but you also want the emotion, and like you don't want somebody that's just gonna sing your melody coldly. You want the emotion. And so if I have to compromise the emotion, like I'd rather compromise the melody than compromise the emotion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because you can continue, and keep people in it.
Yeah. But then there's every once in a while you'd be like, no, but I really need this note right here. And so yeah, we had some of that. But it was all love.
Yeah, it sounded like it.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's like yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to getting back into working with people next year after things settle down. And just anybody that wants to do some live tracking, that's got a good feel and like sort of band oriented tracks. Like what's not my forte is just overdubbing guitar parts on a pre-recorded track. Like I'm certainly capable of doing that. I have like excellent gear at my house to do that. But like I think my strong suit as a guitar player is that I play well with the drums and that interplay of playing live with the drummer, and the bass player, the entire rhythm sections. Like I like it when the rhythm section parts are set up like kind of like a house of cards, where like this part leans on that part, and then there's a call and response between that part, and it's like, and they all meld together like this. But like it's just not the same when it's just a random collection of overdubs.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, well, it also, so I work with everybody I work with, they like to record live if they can. And I think that, when you're dealing, especially like the Sulphonics and Hamish Anderson, the artist that we work with, who in your mind probably would be a wanker blues guitarist, which is so sad because he's not a wanker. He doesn't shred. He's not Shreddy McShreddy. He is like literally like Albert King, Freddie King kind of style. So you might dig it. Yeah. But I will say, like, neither one of them, they're not really like I want to go in and like lay down, like they like to record together. There's something about the magic of that heartbeat that you create together. It makes sense.
Definitely. Yeah. Gives a song a chance to come alive. And it's not to say that like, there have been plenty of great records that have been made with overdubs. but it just makes it. It's like a different set of challenges.
Yeah, no, I agree. I have to say, I've been like, I knew your work, but then I got the chance to like really go down into your catalog. And I mean, I've said this before, but I'm a massive fan of the Stone Soul Christmas song that you put out. And I can't believe that was like 13 years ago. And there's another one that you did. The other thing too, I was listening to your stuff and I don't remember if it was, a lot of the things that there were the spoken words over it. And then when I heard that, I was like, that could be today. Like, just, when you look at the date, you're like, how is that possible that it was like 11, 12, 13 years ago?
Yeah, that's like Holiday Breakdown.
Yeah, the Holiday Breakdown. I know. I was like,
that was the B-side of was it No Chimneys? It was a B-side of a different Christmas song.
It was so good. So good.
But yeah, it's like it's sort of sad and telling it, like,
I'll tell you, super. I had to stop and look at when it was released. That's how, like, I was like, whoa, this is insane. And totally the same thing. So, okay, obviously, I mean, I could talk to you for forever. I do want you to play a song for us because it would be really sad if you didn't. And I think it's funny that the song you chose is, I can't wait to put that on the screen.
This is my latest favorite song. This is Song of the Year for 2020 and every year. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. I can play this.
Make sure you keep that light on your face.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Where am I? Let me just so you can see my pretty guitar.
There you go. And that great jacket. I saw that. That's gorgeous. Oh my God, that's gorgeous. Oh, sorry, I don't.
Oh, well, anyway, the story. What this is all about is this is like a Fender style guitar, but it's not an actual Fender. What I do is when I want to have a Fender style guitar, I just buy all the parts individually, and I take it to, someone. In this case, I took it to my friend at 30th Street Guitars and asked him to assemble it. But anyway, the day I went to pick this one up, he called me. It was done. Told me it was done. And the day I went to pick it up happened to be the day that Amy died. Oh. So this guitar always reminded me of her. So I had my friend do a little picture.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I saw that. That's beautiful. Oh, well, it's a good one way to remember her. Well, all right. So play us the song, and then we'll come back. I'll come back.
So it goes a little something like this. Let me attempt to help you, my friends, with a song that I wrote for myself. But don't think that I'm trying to be rude. Please consider this an offer to help. Don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole. I've been some places, I've seen some things, I've had experience too. I have seen every different kind of people, some of them just like you. And I wonder why some people get their kicks from making people take their shits. It makes me wanna cry. Sometimes I'm sensitive and I just can't handle it. So don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole. Don't be an asshole. That's the short version.
Oh my God. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I had to laugh. I just had to look that up. That was a song by was it Playboy Man, Play something Man Boy or something? I was
Is that
who wrote that song?
me?
You wrote that song? Oh, there's
Yeah.
literally another song called "Don't Be an Asshole."
Oh yeah, there's a few actually. Yeah, but no, this is mine. I was actually I
You
actually
wrote that. That's incredible. That's
yeah, it's
timeless.
it's just and like just like the preamble says, like I literally did write it for myself. So, but I mean, like everybody needs to sing that to themselves. Look yourself in the mirror every
Chill the
morning.
fuck
Just,
out.
like, make a
Yeah.
conscious to
Don't.
not asshole.
So, but Binky, you don't really strike me as the type that would be so inclined.
What, to be an asshole?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said I would be inclined to be an asshole.
No, you would not. You don't strike me as the type to be an asshole.
Not every day, but we all have our moments. I mean, it depends on who you
That's
ask. I mean,
That's
like,
true. Yeah.
ask one of my bandmates on like the third week of a tour.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Tour's not fair. You can't even talk about touring. That's like that's like push pause because life is not normal in those cases. Everything's just, that's not I don't know. I feel like you got to get a pass. If you're having a bad day, I cried my way from Denmark to Germany on the last tour I did. Just like sat in the backseat of the bus. I was like, don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm the manager.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens, Everybody misses
it does. You miss your family, you miss your friends. You're like, I hate this, but I love you people. And the music is so amazing. Then the crowds come and you're like, yes, this is amazing.
Well,
it's all.
I was just telling the class of high school kids today. It's like it's always fun for like 4 hours a day.
Then the 20 others, yeah, and that's if you get 3 hours of sleep, and then there's 17 hours you have to figure out what to do with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I'm really grateful we got to spend this time together. I know you've got your album, you said, coming out next year, right? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, hopefully next year. It's like it's been in the works for a while. But yeah, I gotta make.
I mean, you sound kind of like ready to go.
I am kind of ready to go, but it's like the producer's an asshole, so I gotta struggle with that.
Wait, who's producing it?
Me, of course.
Yeah.
Like the producer's an asshole and the singer sucks. So there's
you
that.
Change that up.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my God. Well, let us know if you need any help interacting with the producer or the
Definitely.
We can come in and have a talk. And by we, I mean me and my multiple personalities, clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we definitely could use some.
Yeah, God. Okay, but I want to, okay, so you touched on things that, everybody should know, right? Don't be an asshole and do it for the fun. Otherwise, it's going to just be crazy, So if there's any other words of wisdom you want to shed light on, that's fine.
Oh man, so many.
Gems. Drop some gems.
Oh, I'm falling under pressure.
That's okay. I'll come back to that one. All right, but I'm going to put you on the spot for the other one.
The best piece of advice I ever heard came from a 3-year-old, and she told me, "Don't act like yourself. Act right."
Oh, truth. Oh, that's painful. She saw it right through you.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much, yeah.
She's like, yeah, no. I see you. You're trouble. That's funny. So, it's funny. The first time I met Lee, he kept calling me Hollywood. And I was like,
yeah. I can hear that. I know exactly how that
sounds. But I was like, I'm not Hollywood. There's like nothing about me is Hollywood. I just happen to live here. And he's like, you said the blonde hair. So I think my big learning is that sometimes it's not just what you see. It's, the reveal of people. It's like, Lee, I am not Hollywood, but I'll play that role on television. Sure. Okay. So are there other thoughts or you pretty much that's it?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. So the trick question is, well, it's not a trick question, but our favorite question, and hopefully we'll get some time between now and the end of the year to make a cool playlist out of all of these, is if there's, throughout your career, and I mean, God, I don't even know how to ask you this question. It's just always a funny one, but because you've done so many amazing songs, but Is there one song that you're like, I wish I had written or I wish that was my song? You know what I mean? I wish I had done that. I wish that was mine.
Just as a business person, whenever I'm like faced with that question, I just think about like the money that those songs generate. But like, Happy Birthday was such a big money song.
Okay, so that's a producer.
Yeah, it is. But like, I would love to own the publishing on Happy Birthday.
Yeah, I know. I think isn't that a public domain song though?
No.
Oh, it's not? Oh, I don't even know. That's so funny.
There's 2 old ladies that have been getting paid for years on that one.
Oh, well, that's amazing. Yeah, okay. So that's like somebody said White Christmas, and I was like, that makes sense too.
Yeah, yeah, stuff like that. But actually, as far I really like If You Want Me to Stay by Sly and the Family Stone is one of my favorite songs.
Such a good song.
Just kills me. Like it's really difficult for me to listen to that song once. Even when it came out, like I was also really young when that came out, and I would always just listen to it 5 times in a row. But also the bridge to Mary Jane by Rick James.
Yeah.
The bridge to Mary Jane is so beautiful, and with the flutes, and actually just all of the songs, like the flutes are really great in Mary Jane. But particularly the bridge to Mary Jane is just a great piece of music. Also, the bridge.
One.
No, well, I mean, what kind
I'm
of
just kidding.
But also the bridge.
It's a specific one.
The bridge.
Which one?
By Rolling Stones.
By who?
The Bridge to Miss You by Rolling Stones.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hamish is gonna love that. Yeah, that's a good one too.
It's just like so good. The back and vocal. Like, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the bridge to the sing the one for the Rick James Mary Jane song then?
It's like the rest of the song is like but then by the time it gets to the bridge, it's like
I hear it.
Yeah, an excellent piece.
Totally hear it.
Yeah,
that's a good one. You're right. That's a good one. I'm gonna stick with your Sly and the Family Stone one though. That's a great song. That's a banger if I've ever heard it. Seriously, like it's a good choice. And I don't think anybody brought up Sly before. That's a really good one. He was amazing. I mean, that whole
his whole
so much to that sound.
Yeah. And just for somebody that was like not a great person, still alive, we should be talking about it. Yeah, no. But like, there's a lot of reports of bad behavior, but like such beautiful, happy, friendly music. And then, cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Oh, well, that's it. And then there's Rick James. And the refrain. My God. Yeah. I feel like I could talk to you forever. This is so much fun. I don't know. Nobody tells you when you're like, I mean, I turned 50 this year, right? And I just, you start to think like all the things that you just want to do in your life, and all of the stuff that we've been able to do during this 2020 time frame has taught me how important it is to just spend time with the thing that makes you like you were saying, like the thing that makes you happy. And we're in a rat race all the time. We're going and going and going. So I'm really grateful that this year turned out the way it did, because honestly, I don't even know. We released that album in 2018. I interacted with you like 2016 to 2017. I don't even think it never occurred to me to sit down and have this conversation with you. So I'm just so grateful that we got to do this. I feel like I learned so much about everything that has happened to you and soul music. I feel like you don't really need to point fingers any further. It's just all you. You guys were just crushing it and influencing everything. Absolutely. No, thank you.
Yeah. Like, all right, we weren't really trying to. We were just like one of Sharon's favorite sayings that she would come back to us with like just like she just would follow her joy. Just follow your joy.
And that makes total sense.
Yeah, because it's like, because money, like you like compromise yourself to make a bunch of money, then you're going to have to spend most of that money trying to forget about how you compromised yourself, you know. And I've always been aware of this. It's just like if my if I enjoy my job, then I don't need a vacation. It's like, yeah, I can't afford a vacation, but I don't need a vacation. It's like I like I
know.
for many years all I did was smoke weed and play guitar. It's like, I need a vacation from that. It's like, no, I
Yeah,
don't.
that sounds like heaven.
Yeah, like free drinks, you know. I mean, like,
Yeah, yeah. But also you changed history. Like sonically, you were part of, history changing things too. So it's like it's
yeah,
it's it's
we
not
touched a
really
little
the
history for
same.
sure. Yeah,
Hmm?
I said, yeah, we touched a little history,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean,
and I
the first thing I read about you was that you said you knew at a young age that you wanted to like not have that job like thing, like you were saying, and that you
yeah,
wanted to be involved with music. I knew I played French horn. I played, guitar. I played drums. I DJ'd, and it still took me until I was 43 to be like, I'm gonna do music.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you could be the opposite.
yeah. It's hard to let go and like say that, like, okay, I'm okay with being poor.
There's
You know,
that too. Yeah.
I mean, like, it's like now it's like I'm a little bit not poor, like certainly not rich, but like I've been able to buy most of the guitars that I've ever wanted. Yeah, I've got like my share of possessions
Yeah,
that
you're fine.
make me happy, at least as much as possessions can. But still, it's like it took me a while, but it's just
Yeah.
but it was just the most important thing was just not to be stuck in an office like pushing somebody else's paper.
Yeah. So you were on tour a lot with, amazing different people and stuff. Is there one story you want to leave us with that's like a real, like, you should have been there moment?
Um, well, it's like the first time we opened for Prince was pretty amazing.
Who's we?
The Dap Kings. We
Okay.
opened for Prince for the first time in January of 11
Okay.
at Madison Square Garden. The
Oh,
first time I set foot in, the first time I went to Madison Square Garden was to play at Madison Square Garden.
wow.
And I'll try to keep this brief because I know you're trying to bring this home. But
I've given up.
yeah, I know, right? So anyway, so here's the deal. So we got this offer from our manager. He's like, hey, Prince wants you to open for him, and it's going to be like X amount of dollars. And it's like, it was a pretty decent offer. And time out. When I lived in Minneapolis, I used to live next door to Morris Hayes, who at the time that I met him, at the time we lived next to each other, was right when he started working with Prince. And then Morris Hayes is a keyboard player who actually probably spent like 20 or so years with Prince. Um, so anyway, flash forward to 2011. We get this offer to go open for Prince. He's like, yeah, he wants the band to open for him at the Garden. He's going to pay you X amount of dollars. And he wants Sharon and the Horns to perform the encore with him of Love Bizarre. I'm just like, I'm the only person in this band that cares about Prince. And he asked for four people
Everybody but you.
that care significantly less than I do. Nobody in the horn section care. Yeah, and so I'm just like, oh, I'm like a little bit salty about it. But like, whatever. And so we show up for sound check. We load in and stuff. And Prince's tour manager comes to us and he says, "Okay, the way P likes to do it is like he likes to have the opening band. Get ready, get all your instruments, and just like sit here in the stands. He's finishing up his sound check. Then after he finishes, he's going to call you up on stage, and then you'll jam together for a little bit. Maybe play some James Brown or whatever, and then he'll leave, and then you can finish your sound check." I'm like, bet. Okay, so we're sitting there in the stands. We're watching him finish his sound check. He calls us up. We plug in, played a little funk jam for a couple of minutes, blah blah blah, and the whole band is on stage. The whole of the Dap Kings is on stage, and as well as his band, except his drummer was playing drums. And then so after the little funk jam, he's like, okay, well let's run through Love Bizarre. And he only asked for the horn section, but I'm standing there with my guitar plugged in. I know the song, so I just started playing. And like Prince is on stage, and just like just like, and there's like heavy wah wah in the song, and I know that he's a wah wah aficionado. And he's like, you know, unofficially, he's like, I learned a lot about wah wah skills from listening to him. And so I'm just sitting there, and he's just like and also I collect wah wah pedals. Like I play really nice wah wah pedals that sound amazing. And so he's like hearing me play, and he's like giving me the funk face. He walks up to my amp and puts his microphone in front of my amp so that he can hear my guitar louder. He's just like, So we play the song, killed it, and then after the song is over, he's like, okay, we're gonna need you to play this with us tonight, but your stuff won't be here, so you're gonna have to play my guitar. I'm like, okay, Prince, I'll play your guitar on stage at Madison Square Garden. Sure, no problem.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, just go talk to Kevin after sound check. So I go to so afterwards I go talk to Kevin, the roadie, after sound check, and there was like Prince had 3 guitars at this particular gig. Like 2 of them were brand new, and one of them was like his original, like oldest, like his main, not the cymbal guitar, but like
Right.
if you know the one that looks like this, a Telecaster.
Yeah.
And 2 brand new Stratocasters and his like Telecaster that he's had like since Dirty Mind. So I'm like, Kevin, which guitar can I play? He's like, yeah, whichever one you want. This is my second gig. I don't care. And so, and so it gets to that time of the show, like Prince is on stage. He's like, and he had like the cymbal stage, and it's like in the middle of Madison Square Garden. And he does Purple Rain, rips it on the Telecaster just like he did, you know, in the movie. And then he goes off stage, and the tour manager's like, okay, now it's time for you guys go on. So I was like, Kevin, tune that and give it back to me. So I went back on stage and I played Prince's guitar. And it's like, yeah, total like childhood dream come true.
That's amazing. So he literally, you could still feel the sweat on it from him.
Sweat, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But the one thing I regret from that is I wasn't playing my wah. I was playing through his guitar, his amp, and his wah wah pedal, which did not sound as good as my wah wah pedal. But
hindered me.
I was playing this wah wah part. There's at one point where I was playing, he came up behind me and sort of like grabbed me by the shoulders and like put his hand on my back and the shoulder, and he pointed to this spot on the stage as if he wanted me to go over there and dance with him, you know, and just like, you know, rock out at the front of the stage. And but I was torn. It was like, but I gotta play the wah wah part, and I took too long. I spent too long thinking about it, and then he went off without me. So then I was just like, oh, I missed that.
Like, make a decision. Do I go for the glory, or do I keep playing? It's like that rhythm guitar thing again, all over again.
Yeah. And then something else amazing happened later that night, but I don't know if you want me to, you know, I mean, I know you've been trying to wrap this up.
Tell me. No, I mean, you know, it's for us at this point.
Yeah, I know, right? So after the show was over, you know, we're like, you know, in the backstage, like decompressing and whatever. Again, the tour manager comes to us and is like, "It's great. P's really happy," and it's like, "Now he wants to invite you to come perform at the after party as well." Do you remember Nels when you lived in New York?
Oh my God, do I remember Nels?
Yeah. Well, it's like same location. It's a different club now, but it's like it was still there, at least at that time. And it's been a bunch of clubs during the years. But anyway, the after party was going to be at the club formerly known as Nels.
Nels.
He invited us to come play. Band talked about it for a while, and it's like, yeah. And then we decided to go play. And so when we get there,
we even had to talk about it.
Well, like I said, like some people in the band were like not necessarily Prince fans, and they were just like
Prince fans, yeah,
being dicks about it.
So opportunity, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so we went to play the after party, and normally at one of his after parties, his band plays, and he like dominates the party. But he was so into us that he just let us play our full set. And he was like, you know, working the room or like sitting in his little banquette or whatever in the back of the room. But there was 2 times when he got up from his seat and came and stood right down in front. One time was when we played a gospel song called "Answer Me," and he like stood right in front of Sharon. He's like totally giving it up for Sharon, and just like he was just like very enthusiastic. He was like a fan. And mind you, the stage is only like a couple of feet high, maybe 3 feet high. And the other time he got up was when we played. I can't even remember, but like one of our Dap King songs that had like it was like I was just playing wah wah all the way through, and he got up and he stood like dead in front of me, like just like looking like, and he was like just right under me, just grilling me the whole time, and but like with like and not like he was trying to freak me out, he was just like giving me love, and like I couldn't look at him at all because like my job.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where did you put your eyes?
Yeah. I keep my eyes on the singer, but like Prince is like literally like I could have just reached out and touched him. And then after the song was finished, he had like some leather driving gloves that he was holding in his hand. After the song was finished, because I wouldn't look at him, he just took his gloves and swatted my foot that was on my wah wah pedal, and then walked back to his seat.
Oh my God. You got swatted by him too.
Damn. Yeah, but it was like it was just like a "you go boy" kind of.
Yeah, I can totally hear it in my head. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Do you know who?
Too bad.
It's hard. It's like meeting your idols. Well, I don't know. He probably wasn't an idol to you, but he wasn't. But like meeting people who are so transformative to music and have these like spaces in people's heads. Like for me, it would be David Bowie. Like I knew I could never meet him because I just couldn't imagine putting context for it. So it's just kind of funny to think like these people just come in and they just like slat, like they're like, no, whatever, Binky. Like it's just, they're just normal people too. You know what I mean? They're having a good time. It's just fun. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we wish it
on Bowie's final. I never met Bowie. I only saw him once briefly. We played at the same festival, but a friend of mine played on that Black Star album and had nothing but great stories. So he's like nice guy, hilarious.
Yeah, I got to know Tony Visconti. I assaulted him basically after a party. Dave Grohl, they had this party for the Sonic Highways thing, and I saw him walk by, and I was like, "Is that?" And so I ran after him, and we kept in touch. And then Bowie passed, and kept in touch even more. And he said it was just it was a magical time for everybody to be able to be together, and obviously they knew what was going on. So, but and the first time I ever saw Bowie was at Madison Square Garden, actually, too. He was just like huge. But my favorite time seeing Bowie was here at the Palladium, where it was just like a small, it's basically like a small club for him. I was like, this is when you get to see people that close up, you're like, yeah, this is great. Yeah. Wow. Binky, I hope I get to actually sit in person with you one day and have these moments. I think I could tell you more and more stories. We could tell each other funny stories now at this point, but and one day I'd love to do
those ones already. I'm certainly happy to tell them again and drunker.
Well, when you have your album out, will you come back and can we talk about like all of your like album and because I mean, I kind of glossed over this a little bit, but there are some really amazing stuff on Spotify. I mean, if you can't get the vinyl of what he does, like the Daptone stuff, I think that's still in circulation, right? You can still get those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So you should be able to get vinyl I'm sure on the website or, even Amoeba, like online, they probably have like the purchasing capability. Yeah. Daptones. Thanks, Johannes. Thanks, Jess. But if you can't, I think, you should definitely check it out on Spotify because it's I mean, all night last night. I mean, totally smoked some weed and just went through it all. And I was like, this is amazing. And just like you said about that Slice song, I think I listened to, I know you said it was Gabe's song, A Lover Like Me.
Oh, yeah.
So many times. Holy, amazing too. Like just, oof, it's so good. Yeah.
Well, if you search, there's a version, and thank you for that, but there's also a version of Lee Fields singing it as well.
Oh, Lee's got that vocal.
Yeah, I mean, like he's a singer. Like I'm a vocalist. Lee is a singer.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, your vocals are really nice. I mean, it's really good. It's really good. You're really good. I'm really a fan. I'm not phoning it in, Binky. I'm here here to be a fan. Yeah. So, okay. I don't know if there's I think Hamish maybe is the only person listening still. Maybe Jessica, maybe Ruby.
God bless them.
The stories are amazing. We adore you. If you don't mind, I'll just say one thing before we go. I've got to do a little housekeeping real quick. So please, if anybody is paying attention, on the 19th, we're doing a soul season. Binky, I mean, if you want to come and do your one like Christmas song or something, we would love to have you. Just do something fun. But 12/19, we're going to do a little like soul season. And then we're tapped out for the year. So we'll let you know when we're back. But I'm so grateful to get to end this year with you. This was unbelievable. I enjoyed it way too much. And I did not have any alcohol or anything. So I was just naturally high. Yeah, it's a good time. It was a really good time. And I wanted to say a thank you to Hamish Anderson for our theme song, which is going to play us off, the little guitar riff. It's so wonderful. Thank you for all of this. It's actually pretty soulful. And Jess and Coco and Johannes and Viviana and my entire team. I don't know if I could do this without you guys. I couldn't. I really couldn't. And if I did it, I would be an asshole. So thank you.
Yeah.
Don't be an asshole. And on that note, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much. So much gratitude to you, Binky. Thank you for joining us on Uncut Juels. Have a wonderful 2021.
All right, you too.
Okay, talk with you.